What's up, everyone? Today we are doing a new series. Today I am going to be telling you some stories. This is going to be specifically about the Cuphead show. So basically, for each day I'm going to tell you about a new boss. And don't worry, I am not going to make this do like the draw the catcher thing. I will not miss a single day. Yep. So we're going to start up with the Rude Packet. By the way, this is going to be a fan-made story. So it's a Cuphead show. And can you shut up, birds? Okay, either way, let's just do this. So basically, I want this boss to be called, I want this episode to be called Botanic Panic. Because that's what it's actually called in the game, whatever. Okay, but either way. It starts off with Elder Kettle, like having a potato, onion, and carrot and radish farm. He teaches, well, guess what? He tells the boys to take care of the garden. But of course, you water it too much, and yeah, it just messed it all up. It tells this evil witch doctor shows up and says, I see you're having trouble. How about you take this potion and pour it on them? So that's exactly what they do. But until, of course, they start growing into humongous, and they start like attacking them. Potato is shooting dirt balls at them, and worms. The onion keeps crying. The radish is just spinning around, distracting Cuphead and Mugman. And the carrot is using his laser eyes to go and destroy Cuphead and Mugman. Until eventually it seems like that Cuphead and Mugman are about to lose. But until after that, Elder Kettle comes home and Cuphead and Mugman thinks that he's going to scold them. But instead, he's actually proud because he thinks that those are his plans. Until it reveals that he is going to make a veggie out of stew. Until all the vegetables run away while Elder Kettle is chasing them after them. For my opinion, a pretty good episode. I would watch this episode, even though it could do a little bit more than that, for my opinion, but I think it's still pretty good. Sure, it might not be as good as the Cuphead show's version of the Rude Pack, but it's still pretty good. I would watch that episode if I were you. Okay, see you later. What's up, everyone? We're back with another Cuphead show video. This time we're doing Goofy LeGrand. Let's do this. So, basically, let's just do this. So, Cuphead, Mugman, and Miss Chalice are basically just walking around eating ice cream until they saw this new boxing tournament that's showing on. It's against Ruby and Croak and Goofy LeGrand. Ruby and Croak will be the next boss episode that they'll discover, but no spoiler. But either way, they decide to go there. I tell you, it was a big boss boxing match. With Goofy LeGrand going in his little form, until Goofy LeGrand realizes that he's not strong enough in his little form. Goofy LeGrand turns on his big form, and there's a whole boxing match going on. But at the end, Ruby and Croak win. until Goofy the Grand faints away. Till he turns into a tombstone and tries to attack Ruby and Croak. So Cuphead and Mugman, Miss Chalice stops it, but he lands on Miss Chalice, swapping places with her. Now she's the one trapped in the tombstone. Tombstone's just moving around. Until basically they have to. Like at one point, Ruby and Croak are in the tombstone, and Mugman's in the tombstone. At one point, Cuphead's in the tombstone, and at one point, Goofy the Grand is back in the tombstone. It's just all chaos, and everybody has left the Box Museum. My Goofy the Grand has cornered Cuphead, Mugman, Miss Chalice, and Ruby and Croak. He says that this is going to be the end of you. He's about to slam it until Mugman pushes all of them out the way, making the tombstone break and making Goofy the Grand stuck in the tombstone for the rest of eternity. And that's the end. I think this would be a pretty good episode. Like, I'm pretty sure that not many people can think of an episode of Goofy the Grand, but for me, I can think of at least one. And that's like the only episode that I can think of. For Goofy the Grand. Unless if you wanna be like a whole forest episode, but we're not gonna do that. Okay, bye. Okay, again, this is another one that I'm going to be doing. Yeah, but this time it's Ruby and Croak. I'm ready to do the 3, 2, 1, go. Cuphead and Mugman ask Elder Kettle if they can do boxing. Elder Kettle complains that they quit every single sport until it shows a montage of all the sports that as soon as they learn something about it, they instantly quit it. Until they promise that they won't quit this sport. Until Elder Kettle says okay. They decide to practice boxing, but guess who shows up? Ruby and Croak. They start making fun of Cuphead and Mugman because they. What was that? I just heard my humming noise. And it's probably just a lawnmower outside, but either way. He keeps making, sorry, those are just my birds. Though they are noisy at night. But either way, they keep getting C's and F's because of Ruby and Croak. They're tired, so they challenge Ruby and Croak on a one-off in their fly trap. It's a big fight, but Ruby and Croak end up winning. Ruby and Croak corners them until this big giant snake shows up, and Ruby and Croak faints of fear. But after that, Ruby and Croak's boss realizes that Ruby and Croak are faint, and so he thinks that, or he or she thinks that it has been Cuphead and Mugman made Ruby and Croak faint until the boss tries to kill them. Literally tried to kill them. So luckily they escaped, even though the fly trap was gone, but they learned a valuable lesson. Never to even though if you might be upset, always believe in yourself. For my opinion, this would be a pretty good episode. it would follow like a good stuff, and I wouldn't really see Ruby and Croak being like a good like childhood like bullies, but they're still pretty good. It would also be a great excuse to have like a fight scene between them. Okay. Everyone, that will have to be the end. Bye. Okay, so next up we have is Hildebert. This is probably this is what would be like a good episode that I can think of. Now let's do this. It starts with Cuphead and Mugman hanging out with Canteen Q's, where Canteen Q's is talking to them about planes. Talks about how they're the most wonderful thing, and they can buy 2 planes for both of them if they just pay $20. But before he can say that, they already left. They already flew away and basically stole the planes. Until Hildebert sees the whole thing and decides to mess around. Until Cuphead was just sitting on the roof and just hanging out. Until he realizes that there's this like weird like cow figure, and of course it's just one of its just one of Hilda's forms. But until she says that he's the chosen one, and everything that she says will become true. So basically, she just does some like troll stuff and being like, stand under this tree, there will be a pot of gold waiting for you. But instead, she just puts like a beehive or like a bird nest, because it just like falls on him, and he gets like beaten up by like a bunch of birds. It would also be a good idea to introduce Wally Werewolf, but that will be for a future one. Or like there's like don't worry, there's like somebody waiting in the sidewalk, so there's somebody waiting for you, but instead Grimashtik was there and Flame Flower's Cuphead. Mugman starts to realize that every single day Cuphead looks like that he just gotten beaten up. Until he decides to test it out. So instead of Cuphead, he walks out. Until Hildebert tries to do the same trick on him, but Mugman doesn't believe it, which makes Hildebert angry. So she basically tries to force him. Till Cuphead realizes and shoots Hildebert with one of the airplane bullets. Till Cuphead and Mugman now are shooting Hildebert until Hildebert finally snaps and she turns into and tries to attack them. But luckily they shoot her some more until she turns back into normal and finally gives up and flies away. And that's the end. Honestly, I feel like this would be a very good episode. It would be a good idea to introduce Hildebert and maybe even introduce like some other future characters. Yep. So that's basically the end. Bye. What's up, everyone? Today this is another one of these Cuphead show thingies. Today we're doing Candy Carnation. This is one of my favorite bosses. Either way, fun fact, it's my third favorite boss, but that will be in a future video, not for the series, but I'm just saying, like we'll get to Candy Carnation being my third favorite boss later. The Candy Carnation is one of my favorite bosses. Like, again, it's my third favorite boss, the whole entire series. Yeah, but still. I would love to see him in a Cuphead show season 4, if there will be a Cuphead show season 4. Which there better be, or else I want to have a talk to the creators of the Cuphead show. I understand that they already sent the papers, but if there's not a season 4, I for real, like I'm going to be full on Karen mode. Okay, let's just begin. Oh, so basically, it starts off with Cuphead, Mugman, and Elder Kettle's planting some flowers. Elder Kettle says that now teaches like Cuphead and Mugman to plant flowers, but they mess it up. They accidentally put too much water in the flowers, and Elder Kettle teaches them properly how to do it. So Elder Kettle decides to leave again. Like last time, what happened last time. Because they're actually doing good. They're not believing anyone for anything. Until, of course, the evil witch doctor shows up again. Till she or he says that it's the only way. Now that, like, if you want the plants, if you want the flowers to grow, you'll need this potion. Until, of course, Cuphead being good will grab it and use it on the flower. Until Elder Kettle calls them and until he said to make sure not to plant too much water on the special flower. He points to the special flowers, and it's the exact same color for Candy Carnation. Yep. And so he says to make sure not to do anything with it. So Cuphead and Mugman now puts the whole potion on it, and yep. Until after that, Elder Kettle comes home and realizes that the special flower is not big. He congratulates Cuphead and Mugman, and they decide to go to bed. Until the next morning, when they wake up, they realize that Elder Kettle is getting strangled by Candy Carnation, and wondering what happened. Until they realize that the evil witch doctor pranked them again. This is not just a morning potion. It turns this flower evil. Until basically they get until after that they hold on. Oh yeah. So after that, they decide to attack Candy Carnation. They get a good slap on him. The Candy Carnation says, I see how it is. So you want Elder Kettle back? Then you have to bestow the evil flowers. Also, by the way, I totally imagine Candy Carnation to have a hint from Powerpuff Girls' voice. I don't know, I just want it to happen for just if there's a season 4. Please find the voice actor for him from Powerpuff Girls and make it. It would be absolutely good. Anyway, the other flowers team up with Candy Carnation to strangle Cuphead and Mugman. So Mugman finds some scissors and cuts all of the flowers up into pieces. Until Candy Carnation, Mugman says, well, I will just have to find my final form. Until he turns into his final face. Let me try to find a picture. Yep, he turns into he turns into his final phase. Until it's like super tall that the whole Inquil Isle can see it. Until now, Elder Kettle, Cuphead, and Mugman are trapped inside of Candy Carnation. Until Mugman sees the scissors and tries to grab it until he decides and cuts a Candy Carnation in pieces and snaps off his head from his body. Until Elder Kettle, Cuphead, Mugman, and Candy Carnation's head is all falling to the ground. After that, they're all falling to the ground. And but until they all fell into the ground, until Candy Carnation with his head and says, "I'll get you next time." And that's the end. I honestly really like this episode, also because of him from Powerpuff Girls, but still, I feel like this episode is creative, and please make it happen. Please, 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 please.